Hello, thanks for tuning in. I'm just starting up a short and sweet video series which I thought might be a cool thing for other guitar players out there or musicians in general really. These will be in the context of a real world covers band gig, so I might not be doing note for note versions of songs, but more using them as a way to talk through some ideas and approaches that you can use in the practice room, or might just give you something fresh for the next time you play the song, or something similar. So today we're going to have a look at Heard It Through the Grapevine, which I always thought was a Marvin Gaye tune, but it turns out it was Gladys Knight and the Pips, another band who were on the Motown roster, and they went to #1 with it. And then Marvin Gaye did a version in '68 for the In the Groove album, and that's kind of the one that a lot of people are most familiar with, either that or the Creedence Clearwater Revival tune, which I think they did like a 10-minute cover of for Cosmo's Kitchen, or I think that was the album. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people think of it as a song in the key of D minor because of the CCR version, but it is in E flat minor, as it turns out. And sometimes that's not the best key for guitar players because, you know, it's kind of in between the frets that we normally use, such as A and G and E and D, and, you know, friendly guitar playing keys, and that's where we spend a lot of our time in our pentatonics and things. But, you know, the flat keys, they're usually when we have a horn section involved, or, you know, those songs will sit in those key signatures because of the vocalist really, and you know, what best suits their range. So I think it's a good idea to move into those parts of the fretboard just to challenge yourself and make sure that you're covered across all 12 keys, and that, you know, if you're playing in, say, E flat minor as we are today, that it's not all going to fall apart for you, and that you can feel comfortable in that space as well. So let's have a look at the song to make sure that we're all on the same page, and then we'll talk through some ideas. So obviously we've got the main riff that everyone would know quite well. So there's two phrases there, the first of which in guitar speak I'm on the 6th fret, or I'm on E flat moving up to G flat, but I'm on the 6th, 9th fret. And then in that second phrase there, I'm moving to the 8th fret there, or the F natural. So here's the first bit. And then the second phrase. Now, if you're playing it in a real world setting, you might think of the power chord version of that, where I might take the riff as if I was playing it just with my first finger, and then build the power chord there for more impact. Which is pretty cool. Otherwise, you know, in a chord voicing, I might think of this E flat minor 7 here. So I'm taking that E flat minor 7, moving it up a tone, which gives me some instant mojo, and then I'm kind of going to the Doobie Brothers Long Train Running, where they keep that index finger down and then doing this double hammer-on idea with the rest of the chord shape. But we're not doing that song, maybe another time. So if I'm moving into the verse now, my chords are E flat minor 7, B flat 7, A flat 7. Sometimes you'll hear a chromatic rundown there between the B flat and the A flat. Which is pretty cool. And that's how the CCR version, or the way that I learnt it anyway, and I'm talking to you, Josh Durham, if you're watching. I remember this, mate, from year 10, and you showed me this where it was in D minor. Went to that A7 chord and then down to are open strings, and that's how I knew how to play it for years, which was sort of the easiest way to do it. But since having done it in a few covers band situations, you eventually learn the real version, or at least the Marvin Gaye version. And this is how I've been playing it for a while now. So that's the verse. Okay, and then moving into that B section there, we actually flip to a new key for a moment, which is getting into that C minor 7. So that B section is C minor 7 to the A flat, back to the E flat minor, and then to the A flat again. So So that'll get you through the song, And then most of the time I'll be playing rhythm chops. And, it's interesting because we spend so much time as guitar players learning the flashy stuff and how to solo, and especially in a pentatonic sense. But, at the gig, I would say 90% of what I do is just playing rhythm chops and locking in with the band and serving the song that way. But in this case here, if I am going to solo, what are some approaches that I would use to get there and make it sound cool? I'd be looking at a pentatonic bluesy thing, obviously, but I wanted to talk through that A flat 7 chord, kind of introducing that Dorian flavor. So so that 6th there is not only the major third of the A flat 7, but is also the signature note of the Dorian. And so we get the 2nd or the 9th scale degree as well from the riff. Right, so we're there, we got that F natural. Kind of for that Diet Benson idea, Okay, so that introduces the Dorian scale and connects it to a chord within the song. So if you're with the right musicians, I guess you can take it anywhere that you want to, but that Dorian might lead you into a jazzier sound, sort of that hip, cool jazz vibe. And with the band, if you're doing a longer breakdown with extended solos, then that's quite a nice direction to go in. But another thing that I wanted to talk to in this song, I think, is the way that you can use the vocal melody to structure your solo. So this is a vocal melody which is so familiar to people, is so embedded in our cultural psyche, being such a huge song, that we can use the vocal melody as a starting point for our own solo ideas. And so what I mean by that is, often guitar players will overlook the central melody of the song in their solo. I know I do on a lot of occasions, where I'll be guilty of just superimposing my favorite rock licks or going in a pentatonic direction, and it might work in a sense, but I often forget to just use the melody which is in the song to start with, So if I was thinking about soloing with this song in particular, I might use that idea just to get me in the zone. So here's a quick loop. We're just on the E flat minor vamp. Right? Okay, so the idea there is I'm just recreating the vocal melody, and it sounds cool. and it's something which I've been exploring a lot lately in my covers gig situations, where I'm just trying to grab onto something in the vocal melody and incorporate that into my solo, so it just sounds more rooted in the song itself. Even if I'm doing a variation on the melody or using the shape of that melody to structure my phrases, that can be a really cool way to practice or to improvise a solo in the moment. So okay, so finishing on that note there is me kind of hitting the heart of that A flat 7, and even though I might not be playing that vocal melody note for note, I'm bringing enough of the rhythmic information and enough of the melodic content into there to make it sound of the song, rather than me kind of composing something and putting it over the top. I'm sort of mining things out of the song and using that musical content and information to shape what it is that I'm doing. If I start with that, at least I can build on that later. If I've got more room to stretch out over the solo, for me I'd be going straight for that Dorian pentatonic blues combination within the context of this song. So there's something that you can work with as an idea, and not just for this song but any song, where you're starting with the vocal melody and using that as the outline of what your solo might be. And that can be a really cool way to stay within the parameters of the song, but give you that structure and really defined, strong phrases. Okay, moving into that B section, we go to C minor 7. Now your E flat minor licks will work over that if you are now soloing over that B section, but I might treat it just as a momentary key change, where the tonal center is now shifted to C minor. Okay, so all of those notes exist within E flat minor, but I really want to outline the notes of the C minor chord, because that's a strong tonal shift in that moment. Okay, so we're back on the vamp. Bluesy licks. Now go to the vocal melody. Ideas are coming into play, where I'm thinking about the vocal melody at least as a starting point, and then I can develop it, take it left or right, evolve it in my own way to tell that story in my solo. And then for that C minor 7 chord, I'm moving to that key center and thinking about the notes of the arpeggio there to outline that chord and just make it musically strong, at least for that bar, and then it's moving back to my E flat minor to A flat 7 ideas anyway. So that's how I treat the song. That's how I would approach it if I was breaking it down for myself in the jam room before I took it to a covers gig, say. But from a practicing point of view as well, you can explore some Dorian ideas, explore your bluesy licks, and think about the melody of the song itself and building your own solo around that. So I hope that's helpful. I hope it's useful. Please leave some comments or questions. Just get at me if I can help you more with any of that. And thanks for tuning in, and I hope to catch you for the next one. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.